Saturn retrograde part 3. This will be for Sagittarius through Aquarius. Again, Saturn retrograde is about the taskmaster really trying to make sure that you're getting the lesson clearly of what exactly is going on as far as, what it's trying to teach you. Saturn is considered like the taskmaster. It's considered hard learned lessons that we experience in life. It's definitely considered a malefic planet because it's not really very pleasant. It's like the authoritarian father that you never know the personality they're going to come home with, but really they just want you to do the best that you can so that you can be the best that you can. For Sagittarius rising, Saturn will be retrograde in your 5th house. So again, if you're having fertility issues, this can definitely be a time when things may not be going so well in that regard. It could also be a time when your children are just driving you nuts. It might just be too much right now. I can't imagine being a parent with everything that's required of it. Especially think about it like going back to school and then Christmas time and just every Saturn retrograde in the 5th house, I feel like is going to be where your creative pursuits feel dimmed. Children may get in the way of that. And I'm not trying to say that kids aren't like a good thing, but sometimes you have to choose between your creative output and your children. And that's what Saturn retrograde in the 5th house, in my opinion, would definitely manifest as. It could also manifest as like fertility issues, like I said, or even just having issues with your children. Maybe this is just a hypothetical scenario, but maybe one of them is struggling in school. You have to figure out what's the best way for them to get their needs assisted and the help that they need and the support that they need. That's very Saturn in the 5th house. It could also be like, I really want to write this book. I really want to do this project, but I just don't know how I'm going to find the time to do it while being a mom. How am I going to figure this out? So those are very Saturn in the 5th type feelings. Saturn in the 5th house doesn't deprive you of, the happiness that you would get from your creative output or your children, but it just makes it incredibly more difficult, more challenging. It makes it feel like you're pushing a barrel full of rocks uphill. For Capricorn rising, you do have to think about this too. If you're a Capricorn sun or a Capricorn rising, both are squaring Saturn, and they're going to be for quite a few years. So like the sun square Saturn, that can usually indicate issues with like the father or the husband. If you're a Capricorn rising, you're going to be dealing with not only this square between Saturn and Neptune, but also Pluto is now in your 2nd house. So you're really having to take charge of like what your worth is with that Pluto transit. But these squares occurring with Saturn and Neptune, I could see there being a lot of upheaval with like family life and just like the family structure, but also just like dealing with issues around like ancestry and your roots and like even like your home. Like I could see with Saturn retrograde there being like fear around the home. There could be a lot of repairs. You could feel like, is this a money pit? Is this something that I should still keep working towards? Or so I could see a lot of upheaval around family and home, but I guess it's for the greater good. I don't know. I feel impartial with Saturn because I feel like it's done me dirty, but Saturn in the 4th house, I feel like there can be strengths that come from the family, but there could also be restriction and like pain and like stagnation with the family too. So I could definitely see someone getting married under Saturn in the 4th house, but I could also see somebody really realizing like, maybe I married the wrong person. Why did I marry someone during Saturn in the 4th house? So again, astrology is nuanced. There's never one answer to any transit or aspect, but when you have malefics transiting these, the 4th house being one of them, it's not easy. It's definitely transformative, but it's also, and the fact that Neptune is also in your 4th house, I feel like That could deal with like family addictions. That could deal with like mysterious things around water, whether it be like flooding in your house or somebody, I'm not going to say it on here. I would be careful around like open water during the transit of Neptune in your fourth house, just because of the water element. But with Saturn in the fourth house, I'm a Saturn in the fourth house native. And I definitely would not rate it very high because I feel like it makes family life constantly a struggle. I feel very alienated from a lot of my family because a lot of them, we just have vastly different beliefs. I don't have that like feeling of family where it's like we all get together and have the holidays. Like, I don't have that. And I think that is a part of Saturn in the fourth house natally for me. But I think as far as a transit goes, it definitely can put strain on the family life and the home life and just a feeling of belonging in general. So be aware of that. Again, like I said, Capricorn rising, you do have Pluto in your second house. So this next 20 years is about really advocating your own autonomy, what your own worth is, and what you're willing to be paid for that, whatever you offer to the world. Now, Aquarius, final one for this, for Saturn retrograde. Again, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology. So I would say with this one, there could be issues with siblings because the third house does rule siblings. It also rules short-term travel, so something with the vehicle. But it could also be like maybe you realize I need a new vehicle, or maybe you realize like I don't want to be around this sibling anymore. This is just not good for me. It could also be there is like a reckoning where, maybe you figure out how to communicate more effectively with a sibling. But I think with the third house too, you have to be mindful of like agreements. So be really mindful of what you sign during this Saturn retrograde, because it's going to be taken to the bank. And I feel like it could have something to do with siblings enforcing the validity of whatever is signed, if there is something that's signed. But, this could also be a time when something that you've said in the past comes back to haunt you. And the reason why I say that is because Saturn is a karmic retribution planet. So when we speak and when we communicate and we emote, that's the third house. Having a malefic in the third house transiting, I'd be very careful of like car accidents. I'd be very mindful of making sure my mind is in like the right place when I'm traveling. Like stuff that we should already know how to do, but it's like basically us learning how to say what we say, but also pay the price when maybe we say something that we shouldn't have said, or we tell a secret that we shouldn't have, or we sign a contract that maybe wasn't fully understood. The third house to me is usually like sibling issues, travel issues, but it can also just be like how we communicate. Like I could see someone being like canceled on social media for something they said during like a Saturn retrograde or a Mercury retrograde, or something from the past, especially with Saturn coming back to bite you in the butt. So just be mindful. This isn't to scare you. This is just to prepare you. This is going to go on until December. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much.